Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
What's up, Coach? Are you looking for a way to elevate your off-season skill development? Well, look no further. With the Ability app, you can build a workout with our library or create your own content. Send that workout to your players, and then your players complete the workout by recording their session on their phones. You can monitor and encourage competition with our leaderboards for every workout. Ability offers player development solutions in the palm of your hands. Get your team started today by going to Ability.com for more info.
I mean, as a coach that's been, was in the business for, like you said, 45 years, but now you put this book together, and I love the title, The Road More Traveled. So I'd love to hear you kind of explain the title a little bit, but then also get into some of those daily habits that have set you up for success throughout your career.
You know, when I retired 2.5 years ago, and I'm not kidding you. The day I retired, I thought, how am I going to honor my former players? What am I going to do? I started thinking, you know what? I'll write a book. So I chose 10 stories. It's 10 chapters. Okay, there's 13 total players. One of them has 3 guys in it. One of them has 2 guys in one story. The other 8 are all single. But you know, I started thinking about that, and then the road more traveled. I started thinking about all the places that I've coached, and all the 7th grade freshmen, all the way up to Division I. But also, I kind of really forced me to think about all of us as human beings, and this is how I see it. We're all on a path, and we're trying to ascend, make ourselves better, uphill. And we've got wind coming at us. We've got this tree getting blown down in front of us. We've got to avoid. We got to watch this boulder that's coming at us. There's mud on the ground. We're getting stuck in the mud, all the above. And the key is, as we try to ascend, do we have the ability to notice either right or left? Wow, there's a great window of opportunity. And then jump it, recognize it, go into it with both feet. I mean, both hands, both feet, head first, and commit to it like no tomorrow, to a point that I would look back and say to myself, man, am I glad I did that? And then get back on that path and look for the next opportunity. And I kind of explained that in the introduction, but you know what? In writing a book, and I'm sure you saw this, it causes you to really self-reflect. You know what you're trying to impart, but then it really narrows your focus. So the road more traveled, my big thing is we're all on the road, the same road, no matter what, trying to ascend.
I got a question about that. Seems to me like the struggle might be, if we're all fighting all of these obstacles to improve and go up, how do you see the opportunities? How do you not get blinded, or maybe, you know, with your vision down, where you're missing those things along the way? Because you said if you see the opportunity, you got to jump in and be about what is it about the journey that sometimes we can miss or not see those opportunities?
Well, this is really big, especially in Division I, but I'm going to say all levels. Is there's so much, I'm going to call it white noise distraction, and then you quickly have to figure out, what can I control, what can I not? And it's like, I can't be going up the path going, God, I hope it's not windy today. It's going to be windy. Got to expect it to be windy. God, I hope there's not a pothole. Yeah, of course there's going to be a pothole. So the key is being able to block out all the things that don't matter, that have nothing to do with either winning, graduating your players, or developing your young men. It doesn't have to do with those 3 things. You just got to flat ignore it. And here's what I would tell you. The first 3 years I was in, I was always really good at that, but the first 3 years I was at Division I at Sac State, I was not good at it. And then I just went, you know what? Get back to basics, get back to who you are. And then when I got back to nothing mattered except those things, then the world became really easy, and I could recognize opportunity because I wasn't getting bogged down with all this other stuff.
That's really good. It made me think of in The Last Dance, when they were talking about Jordan, and one of the amazing attributes he had was the ability to be completely focused and where his feet were. And I think at the moment they were talking about, like, on the bus, he had headphones on,
Yeah.
but they're talking about him as like that they had never seen somebody that was 100% where their feet were in that moment, even though he had so many balls in the air that he was juggling with
Yeah.
business and with fame and with all this, and then the team. That ability right there, how do you grow that, cultivate that? I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but you did it at one point. Maybe it's the going back to basics, like you said.
It's a skill for sure, the ability to compartmentalize. And I will just say this, like, I always want to, whenever I talk whenever I want to make sure I'm not acting like I have all the answers, because I don't. I have more
I
questions.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good. Yeah.
I have more questions than answers. But I will tell you this, one of my discerning abilities was my ability to compartmentalize. And this will get to actually, I wrote down number 1 and number 20 are very similar. They
Hmm.
relate. In other words, the question was, what are your daily habits? And then 20 was, how do you balance family with coaching? Now, here's what I did. I made my mind up. Okay, I'm going to get up every day at 4 a.m. I'm going to be at the office at 4:45. I want everything done, practice plan, the week, whatever, the scouting report. I want it all done before anybody gets there,
Hmm.
because I don't want to try to solve problems if I don't have everything done. I'll be I'm really big on, I want to be in the moment with whoever I'm dealing with. Like, if I, like right now, I want to be in the moment with you. I don't want to be thinking about anything else. So, because I always tell our players, the most important conversation on the face of the earth right now is me and you. Now, if I don't believe that, I shouldn't be your coach. And if you don't believe that, you shouldn't be sitting here, because we can do nothing about anything else. So I wanted to be 110% organized, committed before I ever got there. Then I can handle problems and be in the moment, be present. I was going to go like hell all day long. And what I would do is about noon, or no, right before noonish, one-ish, during the regular season, we had our practices in the afternoon. I would always go for a run first after everything was done, because I wanted to kind of calm my mind down and refocus. And also, I wanted me to be a little calmer when I got into practice, because I tend to be very hyper. So then I go like hell. And then when I'm done with practice, which is probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm driving off the lot and I'm not thinking about it until the very next day. And the reason is, we had 5 children,
Oh.
and when I came home, I did not want to be. I watched people and hold on, I'm changing this diaper. Hold on, oh, wait a minute, honey. Oh, what? Who are we going to recruit? I said, you can't. You're going to be lousy at everything. You're going to be
Yeah.
lousy as a father, lousy as a husband, lousy as a coach. So that really helped me, and it was a great ability to compartmentalize. So in a loose way, not an absolute. During the day, I wouldn't think about my family, because I knew when I got home, when I drove off that lot, I got home, I had 3 to 4 hours where I was locked in with them, and I was not going to be distracted by basketball. So compartmentalizing has to do, relates to the daily schedule, and kind of, that was the only way I could think to do it where it worked for me.
Man, I love that. I think sometimes you hear about balance, and it kind of, like, from the beginning of our talk about excellence and being obsessed and wanting to be great. It's hard to have balance and do those things.
Yeah.
So to me, and what you just said, it is the clear cut boundaries of when I'm here, obsessed, all in, singular focus, driving to be great. As soon as I leave, all in, obsessed, focused with my family, driving to have the best relationships and culture at home that we can. To me, that is like that balance doesn't make sense when you're trying to be great at things. But if you can separate to be great in different areas, makes a little more sense.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit of a it's just a little generational, and I'm not good at doing more than one thing at a time, which helps me, hurts me, but your biggest strength's your biggest weakness. It helps me because I have a great ability to focus that way. The other part too, and this is just a minor thing, was I felt like when I got home, I didn't want any conversation about basketball unless they initiated it, because I never wanted my children
Yeah.
to think basketball was more important than them. I wanted to talk about what they wanted to talk about. And you know how it goes. It's going to bleed in there sometime. Hey, Dad, you got a big game. You're playing Weber State Saturday. What do you think? Oh yeah, I mean, we got a chance. I think we can beat them. Da 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 da. This guy's hurt, but I would never initiate it, even after a game. I mean, I came in the door after a game, not bringing it up unless they brought it up.
Hmm. To me, it seems like their level of interest came because they knew that you cared about them more than the job because of how you approached it when you came home, not bringing it up, not having your phone. You were all in with them. I think I'm not saying like this is how we can judge it, but the more interested our family, our kids, our friends are in what we're doing, maybe it's because they truly feel like we're there with them and they are a priority. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. And I'll tell you, as a young coach, and I remember I started this off when I was real young, so I was obsessed with the game. But literally, I started coaching when I was 18. I coached a seventh grade team and just went on from there. So I watched a lot of coaches with their children, and I watched how they struggled because their children, you could tell, knew that basketball was more important than them. They could feel it because there's just a million ways. And so I just said, you know what? I don't ever want my obsession to become something that bleeds over to them and they now think, well, I don't matter. Like they needed to know, like flat out. Like now here is one exception. If I was at work and one of my kids called, I'm picking the phone up.
Yeah.
And they knew they weren't going to buy unless it was like something. I'm picking the phone up. Like there's a message there. The message is you're more important than whatever I'm doing. And I think that's why when you get home, if you're doing all kinds of other stuff, like I didn't want to watch film or plan practice or anything when I was at home because the message is this is more important than you.
Hmm.
So that was my idea was, okay. And here's the reason why I could go right to sleep every day at 8 or 9 in the evening. I'm sleep no later than 9, probably at 8 most nights. And the reason was I knew I was going to wake up 4 a.m. and do it again the next day. I knew I had a solid 3 to 4 hours before anybody got to work to get everything done. And I knew I was going to do it every day. Now you'll laugh, even on the weekend.
Wow.
And even on holidays, because my thing was get it done so you can be present. And, even on, let's say Thanksgiving, get up 4 a.m, get there, you're done by 8 or 9. You get home when everybody's getting up. Now you're present at home. Because, in Division I, the next day you're probably playing somebody or you're flying somewhere to play somebody.
Yep.
So you have to prepare. You have to know what you're doing. But then you'll be able to be present on Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever. So that worked for me, but everybody's different.
But I think that schedule does make a lot of sense and can benefit high school coaches where, like, I'm guilty of looking at my day and thinking about, okay, there's a pocket of time that I can do my practice plan. There's a pocket of time that I can watch film. But any teacher, any coach knows that pocket of time is going to be gone from something else. Your AD is going to come in during that pocket of time. And you can't tell them no. And so getting up early and getting that work done allows your day to not be or feel cluttered by other things. In fact, like flip that. It's not that I'm cluttered by other things. I'm freed up to take care of those things.
Yes.
Like that to me is a mind shift.
You know what else too? It eliminates stress on your part.
Yeah.
Because you know how like you're in the middle of doing your practice plan or what, and there's an interruption. You're starting to get anxious because you got to be prepared when you meet with your team. But am I going to be prepared? Because that's how it goes. So for me, it was a million reasons, but it really helped center me, balance me.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.